Alright, what is up, guys? This is PVM Vertigo, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. And, well, it's one of the last episodes we got here, and we are starting off our final journey, our journey to Jool, with our first section of spacecraft that we need to launch. This is the tug part. It's got 2 nuclear engines and quite a lot of fuel. It has a docking port in the back. So what we're going to be doing this episode is, well, of course, launching this part, and then we're going to launch the little lander that goes in the back of it. And then we're going to assemble it in space. We're going to do our first docking. I've already docked before many times, but just not in this series. And then after that, we're going to, well, head off to Jool. We're not going to do anything there, but we're going to get our trajectory right. And we're going to, well, get it all set up for our shenanigans at Pole, or, I can't remember, I think it's BOP. Yeah, it's BOP. So anyways, we're launching this section up here at 4 times time acceleration, as always. Got a 3.5 meter engine, a 3.75 meter engine. Launching us up now. I got the skipper going. Gonna turn a little bit. No advantage for that. I just think it looks better, to be honest. Because this tug we got here, you can't deny it looks pretty sick. Look at that. It's got a space plane cockpit at the front of it, and well, it has around 5,500 meters per second of delta V without the lander on it. With the lander, it's somewhere around 5,000. Or 4,700 or something, but it's definitely enough to get to Jool. Maybe come back. Maybe. We can always send them a rescue mission if we really have to, but to be honest, once we drop the lander, we can pretty much have like a 90% chance of coming back, or at least get into interplanetary space and then maybe orbit Kerbin. So we're about to detach. Right there, I'll be detached. And now the nuclear engines are pushing. That's not 100%, by the way. That's 100%. It's got thrust to weight ratio of 0.65 without the lander. Probably like somewhere around 0.5 with the lander on it. But right now, as you can see, we're just trying to orient it as best as we can. But off to the actual lander portion. We have a really small rocket pushing this. The actual main engine is a skipper, so that's how small it is. Gonna align ourselves with the target. Target's around 30 degrees away. It's fine. If we miss it, it's okay. 4 times time acceleration again, and you can see we have skipper pushing there with one big tank there, and then 3 mini 1.25 meter tanks with one second stage engine of the 1.25 meter series. And well, this is just going to be one of our smoother launches because of how small the payload is. That top part right there is just, it looks small, but it has the small Rockomax engine, the really tiny one. And that thing gets you a thrust to weight ratio of 1.65 on Kerbin. And we're landing on BOP. And since BOP is a small body, we won't even need that much delta V. And in fact, what I'm thinking about doing is if we can't get the entire craft back home, we might have to abandon ship and drop the lander, or transfer over the fuel, because that thing has a little bit of fuel. But by itself, it has around 2,500 meters per second of delta V, and that is a lot for landing on BOP, so that's more than enough. We won't have problems landing. Don't want to jinx it, though. So we're lining up with this right here. We have our maneuver node set up. And we're gonna just execute that, get it as close as possible. Gonna go around one time before we actually set this second burn up. This is the one where we set up our intercept, and then after that we'll cancel out velocity. I know some people on YouTube can do this in like 2 steps, but I like to do the 3-step process because that's just the easiest way. But also, I think that doing this is easier to do by hand, because I've used MechJeb before. But MechJeb actually is kind of inefficient with this, so it's better to do it by hand. MechJeb will waste thousands of meters per second delta V trying to align yourself with your target. So if you can, I'd say learn orbital rendezvous. It's the easiest way, and the more efficient way. So you can see I switched to target velocity there, because when you're trying to line up with something, you can just, if you want to cancel it out, don't do it by Don't do it by like the look or anything. Just switch to target view, burn retrograde, then your orbits will be the complete if you execute it right at the intercept. If you don't, you'll probably mess it up. You can see there I'm getting close to 0 and our orbits are well, pretty much synchronous now. You can see that there. And yeah, we're coming to a stop right about now. Then after that we're going to start the approach. And yeah, right there you can see that it is the Jool tug, and we're still in target view, and we're gonna point right at the thing. You can see I'm kind of messing up my thing, but I'm just gonna end up trusting it and just point it right at it. That's prograde over there, and prograde is probably messed up a little bit. We are drifting towards it a little bit. This thing is armed with RCS if you hadn't seen that yet, so we're gonna be able to dock with it easier. No mods were added for docking, so I'm just doing this fully by hand. No docking or auto dockers here. I'll switch a docking thing and have RCS turned on. I'm going to adjust my prograde vector so that it goes right on the pink dot. I'm going to time warp, and you see it falls away a little bit. I'm just going to fix that, you know, bring it up a little bit. Okay, that's too far up, but I'm assuming that it's going to drift that way because that's what it did last time, and yep, I was right. But actually a little bit too high, so I'm going to bring it down perfectly because we're only like 600 meters away, so don't really need to compensate that much anymore. Quick save there. And right about now, I'm going to stop time warp because we're coming up fast on this thing. I was checking my monopropellant because I thought I was running low, and nope. Turns out I only used 10 units. I probably could have packed a smaller RCS tank, honestly. There's the Jool tug coming into a full stop. Just trying to get another angle of view, looking at that. Okay, now I'm going to switch back to stage because I kind of want to, I need to orient my docking port thing. I forgot to control from here, from the docking port, but that's okay. Don't really need to do that, to be honest, if your cockpit is right attached to it. I would have built a space station, so I think that our orientation is good right about now, but we're a little bit off kilter here. But whatever, when we align, we'll see. No, it looks okay. You see, when I first joined Kerbal Space Program and I searched up things that were cool, it was pretty much all space stations. And what I did was I didn't even land on the moon first. I actually was docking stuff in space before I landed on the moon. Because the first Kerbal Space Program video I ever watched was one of Scott Manley's videos, and he is building a space station, so I decided that that was one of the coolest things to do. So I did orbital rendezvous before I even landed on the moon, or mid-miss, or went out interplanetary or anything. I thought that landing on the moon and stuff was harder than docking. And it pretty much was for me, because I felt like docking is just one of my good things that I like doing. Which is kind of weird, because most people, and in this series especially, I've done mostly planetary stuff. I didn't do a whole lot of docking, because there's really no point. There's not a whole lot of contracts that have to do with docking. I wish there was a mod that could add that. When I do my modded series of Kerbal Space Program, I probably will figure out a mod that will add more docking stuff and more reasons to actually have space stations. But yeah, this is our simplest thing. It's we're activating the nuclear engines and we're deactivating the lander engine. Hopefully we can get this thing rolling. We're just gonna skip over the warp to our trajectory for Jool, and well, we're pretty much gonna leave. So you can see our carrier stage floating away. Bye bye. That thing has RCS still packed on it. Kind of a waste, but oh well. And now we're just gonna point prograde and get ready. So we're at the burn time, and we are getting ready to leave. There it is. We have our node. I kind of overestimated the power of these nuclear engines. And, well, I thought it was going to take like 4 minutes. No, we were really, really late in our burn start. So after a few minutes of burning, we're actually going to have to fly around and then do it again. That's okay. So yeah, we're just going to speed this up a little bit. We're going to finish most of our burn in these next 10 seconds because of how fast we're going. We're doing 4 times time acceleration right about now. And it was pretty much a minute or 2 minutes of just straight up burning. It was pretty boring, to be honest. So right now, we are a lot of delta V meters per second away from our final goal. So we're just actually going to zoom around the planet one time, and then we're going to do it all over again. You can see I'm looking at my protractor right there. We're right about perfectly leaving it right at the right time. I'm starting my maneuver again, and I end up just deleting the maneuver because it's messed up, because I should have put it 1 orbit later, and I was too lazy at the moment to do that, so I just end up deleting it. Look at me talking in the future. This is post-recorded in case you didn't know. And basically I'm just going to burn prograde for a very long time until I see the orbit line up with Jool. So I didn't even name this spacecraft. If you want to name it in the comments, you can. Because I want to name it something about docking, but I couldn't figure out a name, so if you guys want to name it, you can. So we are making a little bit of an adjustment here. We got onto a trajectory to get to Jool, and we succeeded in that, so we're just going to make a fine little adjustment burn. We basically burned for like 3 minutes after where I just cut off, so it was pretty boring, so I just wanted to stop that, because nuclear engines, of course, are very slow. But of course they do have a lot of delta V. If I pull up my Kerbal Engineer, you would see I still have like 3,000 left after all that burning. You see, you want to do as much burning as you can in the Kerbin system, because when you get out of the Kerbin system, everything takes so much delta V to change. It's a whole lot easier to use Kerbin's gravity to help boost you around where you need to be. So yeah, I'm just figuring out my inclination, because Jool is at a perfect 0. We want to get as close as possible to Jool. So we're doing quite the, not really radical, but just a little bit of a tiny change that makes a radical difference. Because if you see in the interplanetary thing, we actually go flying off of Jool around like a huge downward spiral with a huge inclination change if we were to leave Jool. So that's good, because if you ever make a maneuver that does that, it means that you are coming so close to the gravity well that you are actually changing your position a lot. So that means that our periapsis has to be pretty low. We want that because we are going to do an air brake. So remember, this episode is only going to be arriving there, so we're not actually going to do any exploration this episode. We're going to set it all in motion. So here we go. We see that our if we were to leave Jool, we would end up with quite a funky orbit. It'd actually be a good Kerbin return orbit, to be honest, if it was flatter, because we could easily burn that much to get back home to Kerbin. And so, right about now, we are warping. We're actually warping pretty slowly, to be honest. I know there's a mod that can make you warp a little bit faster, but I know you can warp it like 10 million times or something, or like 100 million times. I think it's the Planet Expansion Pack or something, but that is going to be in my modded series. There's a lot of new stuff in that mod. Look at how slowly we're going. We're just flying through space, slowly coming up on Jool. I wish we could go to Lathe, but there's not much more we can do in the series, because this series is about completing the career portion. We've already done the tech tree, so we're pretty much done. But I just wanted to have one final mission to tie it all together. So if you're still watching, guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. We're about to encounter Jool and end this episode. But anyway, stay tuned, because we are going to finish this part of this journey. We are going to land on Bop, do all the science, all those things, and we are going to return, hopefully in one piece, and upgrade everything completely. By the way, this is the Kerbal's first view of Jool ever, in this series at least. Let's just sit back and watch the two things that are orbiting Kerbal meet. There it goes. We are now in the Jool system. Thank you for watching. This is PVM Vertigo. Peace out.